Hi, Shaima.
Hi.
I'm Jawahar and I teach in Bahrain.
Yeah.
So we actually, the way you describe your course and how you teach it is very similar to how we do it. So we have the same struggles as well,
Yeah.
where we teach mainly Latin typography, and then there's some calligraphy, Arabic calligraphy, maybe some implementation of Arabic typography, but compared to the Latin, it's nothing really. So
Yeah.
the students end up graduating and struggling when it comes to working with bilingual material. Okay, and I was wondering, do you think the lack of resources about Arabic typography is actually the obstacle here? This is why we haven't really done anything, because there aren't really any books or websites, unlike Latin typography, where you can find so much information about, the system and the rules of typography. While in Arabic typography, if I had to teach my students, I would actually rely on my experience as a designer in the past. I don't actually have materials to show them.
Okay.
Or books to refer to.
I agree with you. Yet the difference is English has a long history of research and practice. As I said, Arabic typography revolved in the contemporary Arabic typographic practice revolved in the last 2 decades, last 20 years. Yet before, it was always about Arabic calligraphy. There are resources focusing on history of Arabic calligraphy, history of Nasikh typefaces, Ruq'a, Kufi, etc., but on a very traditional manner, and most of them are Arabic, and they're available in specific countries. So actually, even bringing this material and teaching it to the student wouldn't really do the job where in the context that we are in. So the only solution, and this is why I raised that understanding calligraphy and practicing calligraphy, even if for one typeface only, for example, understanding the calligraphic structure of Nasikh or calligraphic structure of Ruq'a would really help the student to think how they can structure a contemporary Arabic typeface. It's essential that, as I said, maybe because the nature of the students' education, the school's education is different now, so there's a huge emphasis on English. They study Arabic, yet most of our students are graduated from international schools, whether they are British or American, so they develop way stronger skills in English than Arabic. And take also into consideration that English as a language and as letter forms is way easier to deal with than Arabic. So if you want to create a typographic composition out of English letter forms, you easily can play with each single letter form alone and deconstruct and reconstruct them into a new composition, applying variety of design principles. Yet in Arabic, you don't have this flexibility that much, because Arabic will remain cursive, will remain connected, and you still need to make it. There are some limitations in the Arabic as well. You need the tashkil to show the grammar. You need the tashkil to ensure the right pronunciation. So there are another level of complexity associated with with dealing with Arabic typography. Yet it became for us in the program is a necessity to include additional 2 courses. It wouldn't be easy. I'm sure it wouldn't be easy, yet we will start doing it as a step by step and see how the assessment will take place and what are the results that will show off after this.
Well, thank you. It was quite, the inputs were quite similar and it was very inspirational. Just want to know how tough was it when you were implementing the new ideas into the course? Like what were the administrative, did you have support in applying these changes that you wanted to adapt?
Yeah, but we have to go through a procedure. So we have a proposal that's being prepared internally through the college. Then we need approval from a university. Then we need to submit it to the Higher Ministry of Education. So we get approval for implementation of a new study plan. And then we start the rolling off of the new study plan that's replacing the current one. Then after passing 4 years, we have to apply for another accreditation for a new study plan, of course, with keeping all the necessary and required documentation for the learning, teaching, assessment, related to this study plan. Yes, there is a support from the institution and from the college, yet it requires a procedure to go through. We can't just do random changes or include random courses without a set of approvals, and these approvals vary based on how many courses we will need. For example, in our case, we restructured the whole study plan. So we added variety of courses, we excluded some courses, we merged others that are relevant and they don't really require two independent courses. So these requirements, these changes were major, and they were submitted to the Higher Ministry of Education, and they got approved. So probably in the next academic year, after the rest of the paperwork is being done, we expect to start this new study plan with this new teaching plan for typography. Of course, the 3 courses are compulsory. They are not electives. 3 of them are compulsory. And as I said, 3 of them are prerequisites to each other. So we are ensuring that the students are well equipped in each part before he moves to the next. So we ensure a smooth transfer of the typographic skills throughout the years of the study.
Do the students seem aware of these concerns that you raised? Because Javaher also mentioned the same thing. And I think with a number of discussions I've had with people from the region, the teaching staff are very aware of these issues, but I'm wondering, are the students themselves aware of their own imbalance in terms of the resources they have or their perspective?
You may be surprised. There is large percentage of the students that run away from Arabic. And they're very happy with their English typography skills, and they do excellent job with it. Yet when bilingualism come into the play, they do completely the opposite. The real struggle, actually, they start feeling the problem when they start another course. So for example, when they have a visual identity course, and they have to create a brand identity, a bilingual one, for, let's say, a restaurant or an institute, they start feeling this struggle. They start thinking, oh, that's not an easy one. And the more they have to deal with bilingualism in variety of applications, the more they start feeling that this is an obstacle. Some students with practice, they develop better skills in Arabic, and they develop better skills in combining both languages together. Yet others, they remain having the same problems. One of my concerns as an educator as well, which needs another level of discussion, is the way they look at combining bilingual type in one application. It tends to be at the end as a visual matchmaking. So they look, okay, this is a sans serif typeface, I will look for a sans serif modern Arabic. This has a large counterparts, I will look for a one with wider counterparts. This one is light, I will look for a lighter weight. So they look at it in a very primitive visual aspect, and they do not, for example, explore the meanings or behind this type. For example, what can express an English type as a matter of feeling and meanings is completely different from what an Arabic one can express. Sometimes in some texts, they will need the tashkil or the harakat, while this will create a whole different composition when they have to combine English into the play. It's complicated. I believe it's with more focused education, more focused practice, at least while they are students, this can develop further. This can also enrich the overall current practices in Arabic typography design.
Just how is the response from the students? Do they see a future in this, or like especially?
Yes, especially after they do their internship. Or if they got a freelance job and they get the shock, or they have to face the reality, know that the client wants Arabic, or the clients want both Arabic and English, and they found themselves that they're stuck and they have to deal with it. It becomes for them, they start realizing, as I said, they start realizing the real obstacle the more they move with their studies and the more they practice. The issue is that because of the limited time we have and only one course, the students doesn't really recognize the problems they are falling in. But when they are moving on to a next course and they have to implement the typographic principles and fundamentals they already studied in this course, they found that there is real weaknesses here they weren't aware of when they have studied. So at many times, for example, we found that the students has a real problem in dealing with leading when it becomes to page layout. And they have this problem, but they're not aware that they have this problem. It doesn't matter how much we keep emphasizing them, they keep playing around as they think it will look better, or as it looks better for them. Or maybe after a variety of printing trials, they decide that this will look good, this will look bad, this can be more money saving, etc. So there are many things that are still, they don't really recognize it while they are studying the course. They recognize it when they have to move on to other courses and they have to implement what they have studied in the typography into other applications. At that stage, they start feeling that this is an obstacle. Also, when they go to their internship after the third year, they see that it's a main industry requirement to be bilingual and to dealing with bilingual text and to be able to do appropriate Arabic typographic treatment, for example, in a short movie or in a book or in a title. It comes with practice, but it's very evident in their portfolios and the work they have produced.
Hi. Just a small clarification. So basically, it's an English curriculum that is
It's an
teaching
English-speaking college.
Right.
All the teaching material is in English.
Right.
We deliver all the study plan in English. Sometimes we translate verbally for the students in the class if they need
Sure.
to. The students, one of the main registration requirements is to get a TOEFL or IELTS exam with a score of not less than, I think, 6. So they have to demonstrate a high level of proficiency in English language,
Sure.
spoken and written. So already they come to us with a professional level of English language skills. Yet they are very good in speaking Arabic, but when it comes that they have to translate or to write the classical literature Arabic, it becomes a real struggle. That's why one of the questions we were questioning in the program is to what extent the notion of translation is important here.
Yeah, and along with that question, how did you deal with because it's an English curriculum and to teach a native language, what are the kind of obstacles you faced and how did you kind of overcome those challenges? If even just a key few challenges you could recognize and...
I can't hear you. How I deal with where?
So basically it's an English curriculum that's teaching a native language. And the kind of, how did you manage to teach a native language typography through English? Like what were the limitations and the challenges you had and how did you get about it?
What we did as part of solving the problem is actually try gradually incorporating variety of small exercises in other studio-based courses. For example, if we have web design, one of the projects shall include bilingual website. If in visual identity we incorporated bilingualism as a condition or a requirement of one or more of the projects. Same applies to packaging, same applies to audiovisual practices, information design, all the courses. And when they arrive at the stage, at the graduation project stage, they are 100% sure that they have to produce bilingual projects. So it becomes into small chunks in variety on all courses almost. So they get prepared actually to the practice itself. It doesn't get up to the level we are looking for, yet it solves good part of the problem. At least it makes them with time more familiar with dealing with Arabic and English in one context or in one application. But in the last 3 years or in the last 6 years, we tried to solve this problem gradually. So actually, whenever we can, we do it. From time to time, we can provide them with calligraphy workshops. We invite calligraphers to give them calligraphy workshop, or sometimes I used to assign them a research task to go and explore a certain Arabic typeface, its history, how it was designed, what it is used for, its anatomy, etc. This becomes subjective. Some students shows great interests, other others they don't unless it's a project requirement. But this was a gradual and a practical solution, so at least it ensures that the students have basic practice of bilingualism and combining two, English and Arabic, into one piece of design. Yet we still believed after 5 years that no, they have to have a more intensive training on each type of language and each typography, with an additional one of the applicability of those two languages together and in variety of contexts as well.
Any more questions? No. Yeah. Thank you, Shaima, again for that inspiring session.